Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing great today. Okay, so recently there's been a lot of argument about the authenticity of the Black Jesus that the Russian president recently revealed, and it's been trending all over social media. In fact, there was a particular video that allegedly had Russian President Putin saying that they have opened their vault and all the images there, religious images there, they are all black. In fact, he was addressing a crowd of people and a voiceover allegedly explains in English what he was saying in Russia. And when I tried to authenticate that video, all I saw were plenty of fact checkers actually branding that video false, saying it is false, saying that Russian president never said that. In fact, they said that the video that they were using to do this, they said it's a fake video, that the video they were using was actually him addressing his people sometime in 2022 or something like that. So it's not a recent video. It has nothing to do with facts. It has nothing to do with reality. And in all honesty, I tried to authenticate the video independently. I wasn't able to authenticate it, so I decided I'm going to stay away from that video. I'm just going to deal with the fact that I have right in front of me that you yourself can verify independently on your own. I think that makes it a lot easier. Now, I'm going to start my journey with PolitiFact. PolitiFact is a fact checker, very prominent fact checker. PolitiFact was saying that what actually happened was that Vladimir Putin had visited Russian soldiers in the Kherson region, where, of course, Russian soldiers are currently stationed. Remember, Kherson region until 2022 was a part of Ukraine. But now, because Russian soldiers had gone to take over territories there, it is now under Russia. So the first time Putin was visiting them was this last week or so that he went over there, and he now unveiled an icon. And the icon that he unveiled there was that of a black Jesus. So PolitiFact rather is trying to explain that this was what happened and not that concocted video that has been trending all over social media, which I, in all honesty, have not been able to authenticate. So I decided, okay, let me follow the train of thought of PolitiFact and use that to connect the dots that I want to connect for us today. I'm using their own submission here. They are saying that, hey, the icon that Putin presented is called the Savior Not Made by Hand icon. That's the name. It's called the Savior Not Made by Hand. So in the first place, the name alone explains to you what this icon is all about. Stay with me because I'm going to tell you more about this icon. Now, here's the writing under it, and they are quoting TASS, and I'm going to still go to TASS to read you the full report. It said, the Savior Not Made by Hand icon is a canonical depiction of the face of Jesus Christ, which, according to legend, was miraculously imprinted on a cloth he used to wipe his face. TASS said, this image was depicted on the banners of the Russian army as well as placed over the gates of the fortresses. Let us read how TASS explained this. Okay, TASS is a Russian news agency. And here's how TASS explained that icon. It says, the Savior Not Made by Hand icon is a canonical depiction of the face of Jesus Christ, which according to legend was miraculously imprinted on a cloth he used to wipe his face. This image was depicted on the banners of the Russian army as well as placed over the gates of fortresses. Soldiers have always considered it their patron, while civilians viewed it as their protector and savior. So, for clarity, the image of the black Jesus that the Russian president went to present to the soldiers fighting in Kherson, the reason why it's called the Savior not made by hand icon is because this image, according to legend, appeared when Jesus allegedly wiped his face with a cloth, and his face miraculously appeared on that cloth. And when the miraculous appearance happened, it wasn't looking white, it was looking black, because the one who wiped his face was a black man. This has nothing to do with an art or artist or painter anywhere in the world. And I'm pretty sure you're hearing about it for the first time. I am hearing about it for the first time myself. So it's not painting. I'm going to play you a video where an AFP is a French news agency, where an AFP journalist was busy saying that these images had aged over time and changed their color, which is a bloody lie.
It's an exhibition which feeds the senses. Everything is so grey outside at the moment, and here suddenly it's a feast for the eyes.
And it's a feast that marks 100 years since religious icons started to be recognised as works of art. Before then, they were mainly viewed as religious objects, often left blackened over the centuries by the passage of time and added layers of paint.
Did you hear that? Often left blackened over centuries. Often left blackened. And as you can see on the screen, paintings don't darken over time. This is why the truth must always be told as nakedly as it appears originally. These guys are freaking out, they are panicking. How can you say the paintings can change color from white to black over centuries? We have Da Vinci paintings that have lasted centuries, they have lasted for so long, none of them has changed color. But the one that has to do with blacks as religious icons in history has now changed from white to black. Do you see? But today, we are seeing the true origin. They didn't know that Russian president, I'm pretty sure that this was the lie they were telling in the media when Putin decided, I am going to go and make this presentation official. For the first time, let the media be a part of this presentation. It was meant to be kept a secret forever. The Russian soldiers usually have this icon on their banner, and they have it at the gate of their fortresses. They say that this icon has been their protection. This icon is what helps them to win wars. And this is why Russia has never lost any war in history. So he went to present it to those guys in Kherson. Kherson used to be part of Ukraine, but because of this new war with Russia, Russians have taken over there. So this was Putin's first visit there. He only took a replica of it. The original one is somewhere, and according to TASS, he's going to present it to the military cathedral. The original. What he took to them was only just a replica of the original. Now you know the origin of where that came from. It was a miraculous thing. That's why that image is called the Savior not made by hand icon. Savior not made by hand. And it's black. But it was kept secret from you all along. Because you are a slave. You cannot identify with the Savior of the whole world. How dare you say the Savior of the world came from you, from your tribe, from amongst you? You are supposed to be slaves. They've already given us all kinds of theories of how we came from whatever one of the children of Noah that was cursed and all the nonsense. But look, the Savior of the world came from amongst us. And they wanted you to believe that it came from them, so that the mind control programming will go full circle, 360 degrees. You look up to them economically, you look up to them socioculturally, You look up to them spiritually, religiously. You look up to them in every aspect. If they took away the religious part, you would not be a slave to them. They had to make that complete by making sure that you look at them as gods. Oh my gosh, they have all this power. If the Savior came through them, it means that we too, we are just cursed people. So you can psychologically accept the fact that you are cursed and nothing good can ever come out of you. Nothing good has ever come out of you. Only wars, only destruction, only poverty, only these things. That's all we have always known. And that's why you must grow up knowing. The future generation of black children are growing up only watching animation that have all these people in them. We watch movies with heroes that are them. Everything must revolve around them. These white people must be our gods. That is the tribe and the race of the God that came to save our world. How overpowering is that? That's why they kept the secret away from you. That's why they didn't want you to know. But all along, the icons of the Bible days, the characters of the Bible days have always been black, including Mary and her son, black. Let me play you another video of where Vladimir Putin was in church. I think either Christmas service. And the cameraman, this is not fake news. I'm showing you everything real. You will see the news organization that even showed it. They zoomed in to show Mary and her son. And they are all black.
Благослови, Владыко.
Pure black. Pure black. The woman and the son, black. But go to my village now. Go to our villages across Africa. The only thing you see in there are white-looking Mary, white-looking Jesus, white-looking apostles, white-looking everything. But that's a lie. These people were blacks. But the black man must always know that he is not up to any good. That he couldn't have been the same race that gave birth to the Savior of the world. These are people who understand what mind control is all about. They understand what psychological warfare is all about. And they waged it on us. They brought religion and used it to destroy us. We had always been a religious people. We'd always been very spiritual. We had always known God. That's why Yeshua came from amongst us. They came back, took it over, and made it look like they came to give us. That's why our people are fighting Christianity today, because they thought that these guys came to give us Christianity. We own Christianity. We are by birth, by nature, by origin, Christians. We are the Yeshua-ites, if there's anything like that. Yeshua-ites. He came from amongst us. I've always known this a long time. I'm just talking now because there's a lot of argument everywhere. There's no need to be any argument about this. It's been there. But you know, I thank God, because if Putin didn't do what he just did, my point might just be like rabble-rousing, like making noise. But he's made it a lot easier for me. So I thank God and I thank him for that. Like I thank him all the time. Because the time for our liberation has come. You think it's just about him going to church and seeing a black woman and her son as Mary and Jesus? There's another brother who discovered a book called Russian Icons. Russian Icons. They're all black biblical characters. Very expensive book. You think that's not on purpose? It's on purpose. So not everybody who needs to get the information will get the information. So they made this so expensive. Take a look.
Vladimir Ivanov. I hope I didn't butcher that name, but this is a book that is highly coveted by different circles. Because it has the black icons. It has the history of black people in places like Russia, in Italy, in places all over Europe. This book can range from $1,300 to $3,000, so it's not an easy book to get. I actually borrowed this book from a friend, you know. But this book has a lot of interesting depictions in it. A lot of them pertaining to the Bible. Like right here, this is the Transfiguration of Christ. And you see it's black people in caves, I believe, what it looks like. It's black people in the whole picture, but this is knowledge that escapes black people here in America. It's definitely something that we would never see or never hear about in the educational system.
That's a book by Father Vladimir Ivanov. Russian icons. What are black people doing in a book that is called Russian Icons? Because the truth must always be the truth. What are black people doing in a supposed white man country, Australia? What are black people doing in Brazil? What are they doing in much of Southern America? What are they doing in all these places? I thought they were supposed to be in the place we call Africa. What are they doing in all these places? What are they doing? We know what genetic mutations have happened. We know what has happened over time. You know, the thing I love about nature, about life, and about truth is that the truth is very, very stubborn. The truth is almost invincible. No matter how much you try to kill and destroy it and suppress it, it always finds a way to come out. They were all blacks. They were blacks. But then you were made to understand that you were up to no good. So you couldn't have been the one that has the same race with the Savior. Russian icons. Everywhere you turn, you see blacks. What are they doing there? Today, the truth is coming out. And my question to you is, why is this truth coming out today? You know why it's coming out today? It's all part of the Russian Federation's effort to bury the unipolar world order. You know, I made videos, even up to my recent videos. I tried to explain to us what is going on, that we have been living our lives caged. We have been living our lives in a prison, in a gigantic plantation. And in this plantation, there are a lot of activities that we have grown to get used to. And we think that these activities are ours. We personalize and internalize them. But they were placed there by our slave masters to make sure that we are controlled at every turn in our lives. When you talk about the military-industrial complex, when you talk about the economy of nations, when you talk about the financial institutions, when you talk about entertainment, talk about any aspect of life you think you know, education, the same guys who colonized and kept us on the ground are the ones who have created policies around these spheres of life and influence. That no matter who you are or where you go, you must always run back to them to make a headway in these areas of life. I also even mentioned to us what they're doing in finances, the SWIFT monetary system or money transfer system and all of that. I told you, they placed all of these things around us to control us. Religion is one of them. That's why they have a World Council of Churches. That's why they succeeded in making sure that every single church in our villages have white Jesus and white apostles and disciples. When in reality, all the way in Russia, you have a book of Russian icons. All the disciples are black. All the apostles are black. My poor mother died having the images of Jesus, white Jesus, in her chapel with my dad. They always prayed in front of that chapel. This white image in their faces, in their minds every day. So when they see a white man, oh, the blessed ones, that's the race that gave us Jesus. When this should have been the other way around. History is one of the most potent weapons they use against the slaves in their plantations, in their colonies. That's what psychological warfare is all about. The Tavistock Institute in the UK, that's what it does. That's what they do. They use psychological warfare to kill people more than they use nuclear weapons to kill people. A whole nation of people can end just by way of unleashing psychological warfare on them. That's what they have done to Africans. Can you imagine Africans as a whole? Messed up in their minds. Even if you're married to a woman or a man or you have children, you can go to war with them just by telling them this truth. Because they have inflicted them with the lies of history. This is the greatest weapon the colonials have ever used on us. Lies. Lies. That's why, because they have so much influence over the nation of Nigeria, and that year they told them that, look, you need to take away history from your schools. I could not believe when I heard that. I thought it was fake news. It turned out to be true. That a nation on this earth can accept not to teach its population the history of the nation. It's because the owners of the country had given their orders. And you must take it. We have never been equal partners with the West. We have never. They have always looked at us as slaves, as stupid slaves that must be under the table. And that's why you see this mad rush towards Russia today. Everybody is looking for partnership. And I will show you a reason why we are not just running to Russia blindly. We have seen the antecedents of this country. We have seen the history. If you know anywhere that Russia has ever gone to colonize anybody in this world, please call my attention to it. Send me an email, comment under this video wherever you are, and let me know whether they have ever colonized anyone. They have always been there to help people to break loose, to break free from colonial conundrum and be free people. They've always been seeking equal partnership wherever they went to. And I'll show you one of the signs. I'm going to read you something that will shock you. I'm sure a lot of people don't know this. This was actually where my journey started, when I began to pay attention. First of all, I saw Russian president first. Before this whole brouhaha over Black Jesus started, I saw him worshiping, and I saw that the Virgin Mary that was on the wall of the church where he went to worship was black, and the Jesus there was black. And I'm like, okay, so we are fighting against the man who doesn't have any problem going into a church that has a black image. I thought that would have been okay for people who always talk about racism, but the ones that is not racist, that you call your friend and your allies from the West, cannot stand a second of a black image in the churches where they go to. They would never accept that because they are the overlords, they are the kings. But here is the man you say is the king of all racism, worshipping in a church where the imagery is all black. What manner of diabolic contamination or infestation have they used on us that we can't think straight anymore? I don't understand. So here's what happened recently. I read this one and I'm like, you know what? Africa, if you miss it this time, you will never get it right again. The caption here says, Russian schools begin to offer Swahili and Amharic. And the write-up says, in Russia's capital, Moscow, 3 schools have introduced the teaching of either Swahili or Amharic as a second foreign language this fall. As a second foreign language this fall. Are you joking? In Russia, they are introducing the teaching of our African languages as their second language. It's not that they are imposing their own language on us as slaves. They are saying, even though you learn a Russian language, we also need to learn yours, because what we seek is equal partnership. We want respect. We don't want to lord it over you, because we're not slave masters. We are partners. Tell me what it is that you are still looking for, that you have not found in all these facts. They are making you hate a man who you should love and run to and embrace, because it's all part of the plot to take us away, as far away as possible, from our redemption and bring us even much closer to our doom. That's what they're doing. But thank God for the grace he has given to Putin, who is now effectively decapitating colonial establishment in Africa. I keep saying it, that they are losing, and they are losing big. They've lost Mali, they have lost Niger, they have lost Burkina Faso, and I can tell you they have lost Senegal. And I can tell you that Central African Republic already is in. It's been there a long time. I see Wagner forces have just arrived there recently to go and deal with the terrorists. The Russian president is one president that understands how to end this scourge of terrorism in a very clean way. He will just step in, they will take care of them and deal with them, and that's it. They are the reason Bashar Assad is still in government today. If this resurgence of Russia on the continent of Africa had been there when Libyan president was in power, we wouldn't have lost that icon, Gaddafi. I don't know why Africans have not decided to start having an award of excellence that is named the Gaddafi Awards. I don't know why they don't want to talk about it, because they feel like they are going to offend the colonial powers who took that jewel away from us. The man who was so close to changing the whole of Africa, the destiny of Africa. And I think the anger of losing him was part of why Russia had decided, you know what, we are no longer going to stay behind the curtains anymore. We will come out openly and help Africans. And so what Putin is doing today is that Putin is effectively destroying the lies that have kept Africans in bondage. Putin is destroying the political gimmicks that have kept Africans in bondage. Putin is destroying the economic establishment, the economic fabric that has kept Africa in bondage. Putin is destroying every single thing just so that Africans will wake up and make a break for it and be free. This is one of them. The greatest of the weapons they have used against us is the one that Putin is bringing. Why is it that for the first time now he is making it open, showing this is something that Russians have always used for hundreds of years? Why is it coming out in the media today? Why is the story coming out today that this was not made with human hands? It was when Christ wiped his face, which is black. A black face appeared on the cloth, and they kept it. America rejected it, Russia collected it. Because America has summarily rejected the Most High. That's why, as a Russian president is kicking out LGBTQ, let me read you here. It says Russia's Supreme Court effectively outlaws LGBTQ plus activism in a landmark ruling. We all heard that. We all saw that. It says here, Russia's Supreme Court effectively outlawed LGBTQ activism on Thursday, the most drastic step against advocates of gay, lesbian, and transgender rights in the increasingly conservative country. Ruling in response to a lawsuit filed by the Justice Ministry, the court labeled what the suit called the LGBTQ plus movement operating in Russia as an extremist organization and banned it. LGBTQ, transgender, they banned them. They say you can't be in Russia. You can't even carry any activism out in Russia. You can't even campaign or mention it anywhere. That's the Russia they want you to hate, you Christian. But here is the America that you are in love with, God's own country. Biden declared Easter Sunday as the transgender day of visibility. God's own country. Your own Bible tells you that God made them male and female. And the American president said the people who are confused about their gender, they should give them the day you are marking for Easter. Some people say, oh, but March 31st can be anything. And next year's March 31st may not fall. Easter may not fall on it. I mean, March 31st is March 31st. It's different from Easter. But why must you use the one that has Easter in it for the year 2024? Even if the next year's March 21st has no Easter in it, why must the man? Because they want to show you that they don't have any regard for your God. And like I said in my previous video, I don't believe in all these religious ceremonies. But the fact that he did it is an affront to you and whatever God you think you're worshiping, you Christian. But I can put it to you today that the one who has banned this weird lifestyle that is anti-Christian, anti-Bible, anti-everything you believe, the one who has banned it, who is supposed to be on the same side with you, you are the one, he is the one that they are going to tell you to hate, and you're going to hate him. And you're going to love the one that is constantly going against the things that your faith is talking about. That's the power of mind control. That's the power of the media. So today, I am making this case, not because I am so eager to convince you. That, like I always say, there are people who will never be convinced. It will take a miracle for them to believe the truth that is staring them in the face. But whether you believe it or you don't, here is the truth, and I present it before you. Whatever you do with it is up to you. As for me, as far as I'm concerned, I have always known that the Yeshua HaMashiach himself, who came to save this world through a Virgin Mary, was actually here on earth in a black skin. And he came through a black woman. And there is nothing anyone can say about that. And thank God that Putin has decided today to help Africans break loose from these many shackles of colonial enslavement that appear in different forms. It's now up to you, Africans, to choose who you make friends with. I have made my choice a long time ago. It's up to you now. And may God help you. May God help all of us. May he give us the grace to make the most of this beautiful time, this brilliant, rare opportunity that we have got in our lifetimes to break loose and be free once and for all. May God bless you and keep you.